The following is a special presentation from the I Think I Love You Animal Foundation in memory of David Cassidy.
We're rehearsing.
I know, I'm watching you.
Do you live around here?
Yep.
I haven't seen you here before.
I know, I've been living here about an hour.
Maybe he's a wandering gypsy.
No, I'm Ricky.
Where do you live?
Next door.
Oh, you belong to that moving van outside.
Yep.
Tonight and all next week, you can make a bid to win one of these exclusive Henry Diltz 11x14 prints. Proceeds to benefit the I Think I Love You Animal Foundation. See how you can win this exclusive David Cassidy signed guitar. Visit our website for details.
Well, hello, everybody. It's me, the Wandering Gypsy, Ricky Siegel. And I want to welcome you to the I Think I Love You Animal Foundation's presentation of Then and Now, a live virtual fundraising event in honor of David Cassidy and in support of the I Think I Love You Animal Foundation. You're going to hear a lot tonight about the foundation. You're going to hear a lot tonight about David, and you're going to hear a lot tonight about what you can do to participate and support the I Think I Love You Animal Foundation. For those of you who may not know who I am, I was just in that clip right there. I was little Ricky on the Partridge Family, and I got to know David for a little while. I was on the final season of the show, and when my first and earliest memories of David, I've been asked this before, we had a 50th anniversary not too long ago for the show, which is crazy to say. But my memories of David, I'm asked that a lot by virtually everybody who knows I was on the show. They first of all asked me what the experience was like, and then they asked me what was it like working with both David and Shirley especially. And David was one of the kindest people, and I think you'll hear that from everybody tonight. And it's exemplified in his love for animals, because it takes a very kind person to want to be kind to animals. And my experiences with David, both as a kid and then later as an adult, I ran into David and in a restaurant in Los Angeles. And I didn't think he was going to recognize me, having not really seen me since I was a little boy. And he, of course, not only immediately did, but was extremely receiving, gave me a hug, instantly asked how my mom and dad were doing. And you're going to hear a lot tonight about his generosity and especially his love for animals, because that's what this is all about. You're going to hear also more about what you heard in the intro, about what you can do to bid on some things, not just today, but over the next week. And we'll have some more information about that in just a second. The supportive nature of the charity, it all goes to taking care of animals. And I have lived with animals all of my life. Like David, I have a particular affinity for dogs and horses, but a lot of other animals as well. So if you love David, if you love the Partridge Family, and if you love animals, you came to the right place. And you're going to hear more again in just a minute about what you can do to help support, not just in this fundraiser, but ongoingly, how you can continue to support this really worthy cause that's been done in honor of David, who, for anyone who knows anything about David, his love for animals was deep, and it was for the totality of his life. I'm going to introduce to you right now two special guests who are going to join me The first one you heard at the top of the show is the president of the I Think I Love You Foundation, and that's going to join me as Barb Collentine, along with Gary Contessa. Hi, Barb.
Hi, Rick. How are you?
I am well. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Gary.
How you doing?
Hi, Gary.
Doing well. Now, a lot of people aren't going to know much about either one of you unless they have personal relationship with you, obviously. And rather than me go on ad nauseum, I'd love for you to just explain a little bit about yourselves, your connection to David, and your connection, obviously, to I Think I Love You.
Well, I'll start. I'll start as the president of the foundation. I'll just say that I'm a lifelong David Cassidy fan, like a lot of people that I can see in the comments. And I know he's got some lifelong friends. So I'll just say that we started the charity in 2018 after David passed. We've got a wonderful board of directors and wonderful board members. There's about 14 of us who are all doing this in our spare time. So nobody's getting paid or anything like that. And we're here to, as you said, Rick, at the Open, we're here to support all animals, but especially offering retired thoroughbred racehorses sanctuary or any horses that are in emergent need, because that's where David's heart really was in the horse world, as Gary Contessa knows and is probably going to speak to now. So Rick, I really want to thank you for being our host for this first enormous event that we're having. And I'm enjoying myself already, and I think everyone's going to love the items up for auction. And yeah, and thank you for introducing me. I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here too. Thank you. It's my pleasure to be hosting. And for those of you who've been commenting on the thread here since the very beginning, we are going to see some of your comments. So please don't hesitate to ask questions. They're going to get intermittent at times. I've seen already a comment from somebody who said they ran into David at a Yankee game and he signed things for them and gave them hugs. But before we go back over those things, when it comes to talking about horses, Mr. Contessa, thank you for joining us. Tell us a little bit about your connection to David and the foundation.
Well, 26 years ago, I'm at a horse sale in Saratoga Springs. And I see David Cassidy. And, you know, I'm still like, I'm reasonably enamored with David Cassidy and a little bit nervous. And I see him sitting over there. And he looks me right in the eye and he comes running over to me. And I'm like thinking, oh man, let's go. You know, David Cassidy's coming over here. Ha 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 ha. Humana. Right. David comes over. He says, man, that filly you ran yesterday, what a genius move putting her on the grass. And I'm like, wait a minute. David Cassidy's talking to me about horses. And that sums up what David was all about. That started a 25-year-old friendship between David and I. And I've talked about this many times. David was a rock star who wanted to be a horse trainer, and I'm a horse trainer who always wanted to be a rock star. And this picture right now that's up on the screen, that's the guitar that we're auctioning off. That's David and I playing at a fundraiser up in Saratoga Springs, New York. And that is my Fender 1993 Fender Jazz bass. Without David Cassidy's signature, that bass is probably worth $1,000, $1,500. It's a very highly sought after Fender bass guitar. But with David's signature on it, it's worth as much as anybody's willing to pay for it for a good cause to this charity. And David and I, you know, we spent 25 years together. He was at my barn almost every day. If he wasn't at my barn, he called every day. And never in 25 years did he ever call me to talk about music. He called me to talk about horses every single day. He was a dictionary. He was a breeding expert. He was a horse expert. Many people don't realize that. I would have a horse in my barn. Now, keep in mind, I trained about 150 horses at a time. And David would zero in on one and he'd say, Gary, this horse's great-grandfather ran 2 miles on the turf and you're running him 6 furlongs on the dirt. You need to stretch this horse out on the grass. And we constantly talked about horses. He'd be there at 7 o'clock in the morning with a cigar that was as big as he was, smoking a cigar in front of my barn and talking about horses. And it was just amazing. And you know, our relationship grew. He used to go everywhere that I went in Saratoga. We went out every night. We went to different places. We became very, very close friends, and we never talked music. And one day I was invited by a local band, a really good one, to be a guest guitar player in a charity show. Right. And I went and I brought David with me. And David was absolutely blown away. I'm going to say it was about 2000. He was absolutely blown away because we're friends now 6 years, and we really never talked about how my background in music. And I played with a lot of good people over the years. Yvonne Elliman, Gloria Gaynor, Fats Domino, Chuck Berry. I played with great performers. And David didn't realize that. Well, from that moment on, anytime David was playing and I was in the audience, he would stop the show, you know, at BB King's or wherever he was, Westbury Music Fair, any of those venues, and he would say, I want my horse trainer to come up here and play a song. And I would get up on stage with him and play a song, and he'd keep me up there for the rest of the evening. And we did a lot of playing together, and he was just blown away. And it enhanced our friendship. But David was all about horses. It was just, he's an amazing guy. He loves animals. He loves people, and he especially loves horses. I mean, his soul and his name are on so many pedigrees. Like, unbeknownst to people, he bred probably close to 1,000 foals over the years. His broodmares had foals, and their broodmares had foals. And you could find David in the family tree of literally thousands of horses that are racing today.
Wow. Yeah, I think it's true. A lot of people don't. And that's one of the great things about the foundation and doing something like this, is that people get to learn this side of David that mattered so much to him. Because for a lot of folks, when you say, I'm a horse lover, it's basically like me, where I love horses, I can ride Western, and that's about where it ends. But when we're talking about the love that David had, and for those of you who don't know Gary Contessa's background, just do a little search on Gary and you'll understand the depth of this man's connectivity to the racing community and to horses. I'd love to ask both of you, beginning back with you, Barb. It's hard to say this, but I think you guys both have a perception of David and the connectivity to him where you could give some insight in what you think it would mean to David, where he's still with us, to know that this foundation exists and what it intends to be doing on an ongoing basis to be helping horses. How do you think he'd feel about that, Barb?
Well, I think he'd be really proud of the fact that fans are doing it out of the goodness of their heart, which is reflective of what David did. One of the things, if you follow David, even after the Partridge Family, which I did, and obviously a lot of the people on the board did, is he did a lot of work for charity, and it wasn't something that he would advertise or anything. So I think that we're following in the footsteps of his charitable, philanthropic self. And I think the fact that we're focusing it on animals, and especially horses, as Gary can attest to, I think would really make him proud and happy and feel like we are going in the right direction, in a direction that maybe if he kind of retired from entertainment, maybe he would be doing the same thing. So that's what keeps us going, because we think that our eyes are on the same prize as his.
Yeah, that's great. Gary, what do you think? Same thing. And do you think he also, if he had looked beyond and had been, do you think he probably would have spent his later years really just spending a lot of his time just around horses?
No doubt. He might have become a horse trainer.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he wants to work 17 hours a day in his late years. But if any of you knew David, David had a bird. He had a parakeet, and it was huge. Like, I don't know what you call a big parrot that walks around the house, but David had one. Yeah. And that parrot was severely atrophied in his feet, and he was a real problem parrot. And David loved that parrot so much, and he had literally thousands and thousands of dollars worth of vet bills constantly on that parrot. And yet that parrot had full run of the house. I'd be sitting in his living room, and boom, the parrot jumps on my head. The thing weighs about 20 pounds. And he just loved that parrot, and he had such a heart for animals that were injured, that were in bad situations. We always talked about that. he was really vehemently opposed to the slaughter of animals. He was just such a good guy, and he would have loved that we did this. But I'll tell you what David would have said to me. He said, "Gary, you work 17 hours a day and you got time for this stuff?" He would have said, "Oh man, don't do it on my behalf." But really, we all do it because we love David and because we want to honor his memory. And that's what we're all doing here right now.
Exactly. Well, Gary, I know you're going to be coming back in just a minute for another segment on the show. But Barb, before we break from this segment and say goodbye, is there anything else that you want to share that everyone should know about, either about David or the foundation?
Well, I just want to, again, thank you. And I know the upcoming guests that we have, I really, really want to thank them. And I want to also echo what Gary said. I would say that the people on the board, the 14 members of the board, they're working full-time jobs, they're raising the children, and we're all working really, really hard for David. So I want to thank them. This event was just enormous undertaking. And when we got people like you on board, Rick, we really kind of hit the ground running. So I want to thank you. And I just want to remind, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, sure, my pleasure.
And I just want to remind everybody that, as you said, there are items up for auction for a full week after we show them tonight during our broadcast. And we're really, really hoping that people will enjoy these items and want them, and that the foundation will benefit at the same time in honor of David. So that's all from me. I just hope you guys have a really fun time. I can't wait to just sit back and watch you guys.
Great. Well, thank you, Barb, very much. And Gary, before I let you go, Gary, I just saw a question from somebody over there, and I'd like to know the answer too. Was there a particular breed of horse that was David's favorite? Do you know?
Absolutely. Thoroughbreds.
Thoroughbreds.
He loved the thoroughbred horse. He loved the majesty of the thoroughbred. He owned brood mares. He told me when he was a little boy, he used to sneak into Santa Anita Park in California and like follow Bobby Frankel around and Jack Van Berg and Charlie Whittingham and all the great trainers of yesteryear. He'd follow them around because he just couldn't get enough of thoroughbred horses. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. Thank you. We look forward to spending a little more time with you here in a second. Going to let you go back into the green room and rest for a minute. One thing I'd like to do now is introduce you to someone via video. You're about to see a video from the board member, Annette Trotta Flynn. And she has a few things she wants to explain via this video about the bidding, how it works. So I'm going to let her do that for you rather than me continue to talk.
Thank you, Rick, and welcome, David Cassidy fans from around the world. We're so happy to have you here with us. I'm Annette Trotta Flynn, and I'm here to explain how the bidding is going to work. It's actually super easy. What you're going to do is you're going to go to ithinkiloveyou.org, our website. There, you're going to see a yellow bid button. Click that button, and you'll be taken to Bidding Owl. Bidding Owl will have our 7 items up. You can check back all week to see where your bid stands. Not ready to bid? That's okay. You can view the items without signing up as well. Now, we have a last minute item that just came in. Davy Jones's daughter, Annabelle, got wind of our event and sent in an amazing package of a David Cassidy inspired tea that they've created. It's the I Think I Love You tea blend. It includes a wonderful photo of David and Davy. They were very good friends in life. They had similar experiences in their careers. They toured together. They loved horses. So we're happy to have that package with us today. And it's going to include the I Think I Love You Animal Foundation special edition, limited edition t-shirt. Now, I wanted to also let you know that 100% of these donations go back to I Think I Love You Animal Foundation and the wonderful cause of saving animals and horses in David Cassidy's memory. You're all part of it here today, and we can't thank you enough. The bidding will close Friday, July 16th at 10 p.m. Eastern. The winners will be announced on our I Think I Love You Animal Foundation Facebook page on Saturday, July 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern. They will also be posted on our I Think I Love You Animal Foundation website, ithinkiloveyou.org. Happy trails to everyone. and be well and safe.
Thank you for that, Annette. And if you didn't get all those details, we'll be repeating them, that's for sure. But it's good for a week, and you'll be able to see those things. You'll be able to bid on them when it closes. Then the announcement will be the very next day. And it's obviously going to not only something that is really and wonderful and worthy on its own, but because of its connectivity to David. And I think you can tell just from what we've discussed thus far that this is clearly something that wasn't just near and dear to David's heart. This was part of who he was. Nothing else really mattered more to David than taking care of animals, and most especially taking care of horses. Now, the next two guests may argue that they may have mattered maybe a little bit more, but I don't know. I'm going to introduce you to our two guests who we might need a little drum roll for this, because these two people who were a very central part of David's life for many, many years, decades, they actually haven't seen one another since the 70s. So with drum roll going, so everybody just tap on your table or wherever you are right now, we're going to introduce to you Henry Diltz and Sam Hyman, who are going to join me right now. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, peace.
Hello.
Hey, Sam, how you doing?
So, yeah.
I'm doing great, Henry. How are you doing?
You look a little different from the 70s.
And you don't. That pisses me off.
Well, for those who don't know, just a brief introduction about both Henry and Sam. Henry has been a photographer, among other things, including a musician, but primarily is known for having taken, I don't know how many pictures you've taken of David. Do you have a count of that?
I mean, 10,000? I don't know.
Yeah,
many
photographs.
Thousands and thousands, yeah.
Yeah, of photographs of David. And then Sam
here.
There's one right there.
Remember that?
You remember that, Sam?
I can't see it. I'm still looking at the guitar.
Now you can see it.
Well, it's yours.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I do remember that. That was off the Coastal Surfers Paradise in Australia. We had been water skiing that day.
I love that. There's the PR lady, Patty Moyston, down in the corner, and one of the band members. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, good to see you, Sam. Good to see you.
Oh, it's wonderful seeing you, Henry. I'm honored to be on the same screen with you, believe me.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know Sam's connectivity, I think anyone who knows David probably is aware of the fact of Sam's relationship with him. He's known him most of his life. You guys met in junior high school, isn't that right, Sam?
Yeah, we were about 12, 13 years old when we met.
Yeah.
And remained friends, moved out together when we were 19 because I had gotten a dog at the dog pound, and I don't know where he got his dog, who is named Sam. And our mothers said to us, those dogs got to go or you go. And David and I rented a house in Laurel Canyon, took our dogs with us, and went to the grocery store and stole orange crates for furniture.
Wow.
And the funny thing is, you know, David would call for his dog. He'd go, Sam. And we'd both show up at his bedroom door. And I said, David, this ain't going to work. And I'm not changing my name. And that's when Sam became Ricky.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna ask you a question about that as well, the dog Ricky, in a second. But before I do, Henry, I wanted to ask you, we were just seeing some of the pictures that are up for auction that you took. You tell us a little bit about those pictures, where and when they were. I'm pretty sure they're going to pop up here, and you can tell us just a little bit about.
They're mostly David with horses. That's an early shot I took of David when he was still in the Partridge Family. I remember that was at his manager's house, the lady that managed him. Now, that was early when the other ones are a little bit later when he was actually, you know, breeding racehorses there. We went out to a ranch one time and I saw his horses. I think there's 3 from that ranch. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there they are.
Yeah. And again, these pictures you're all seeing right here, everybody, these are some of the photographs that are up for auction that you can bid on.
Right. I was, you know, I mean, I met David on the Partridge Family. A magazine hired me, a teen magazine. In fact, I think it was probably Tiger Beat.
Right.
Hired me to go down to the Partridge Family set one day. I think it was the second season. And I walked in there. I had long hair and love beads. And David and I became friends immediately because I'm a couple of years older, but roughly the same age. You know, and back in those days, most of the photographers were kind of AP photographers. I know,
right.
You know, they were professional older guys, and I was more David's age. So we hit it off right away. And I was a musician as well. And so we had a lot of things in common.
Yeah.
And then when David started, well, he started doing weekend concerts. I remember, I think I went on the first one to Maine. When he went out of the state, he went to Maine, and I flew that weekend. And then pretty soon he was doing world concerts. And I went around the world a couple of times with David, just doing what I love to do, which is just hang out and watch what happens and, you know, document everything. It was really an adventure. Yeah.
Do you have any recollection as to how many different places you actually traveled with David and took photographs?
Well, I mean, his big world tour started in New Zealand and then Australia and Tokyo. We spent a week in New Zealand and then, God, a few weeks in Australia, and then Tokyo. And then, you know, then we did Europe with the tour in Scandinavia. And then we went back to Australia a second time and spent quite a while there. He was receiving an award. And then another time, RCA Records sent us all through Europe doing a PR tour. It was without the concerts, but we go to every major city and meet the record representative and go out to dinner and go to a club and just a kind of a worldwide adventure. It was really fun. A lot of laughs.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And tell us just a little bit, say, of both your memories of David at Caribou Ranch, and also just what was your impressions of David specifically when he was around animals? Like when you're doing those photo shoots with the horses, how evident was his love for the animals?
Well, yeah, Caribou Ranch was great. That was a big recording ranch in Colorado. Yeah. And you go and spend a week or two there in these little cabins, like a summer camp, you know. Although I think it was winter when I was there with David, snow on the ground. And they had a whole stable full of riding horses. And I remember one day we went riding out with the whole band. Another day he had a big, huge fur coat. I don't know what kind of fur, and he was riding, you know, we'd gallop along. Wine bottles in the saddlebags, you know, flopping. Of course, when a photographer rides horseback, you got these cameras, you know, and they go flop, flop, flop as you're galloping along. But God, we had a great time. Yeah, he loved horses, so we went riding pretty often. And then whenever I go to his house, he'd always have his dog. Bullseye was the dog that I was around all the time. He's in many of the photos. I think he brought Bullseye up to Caribou too one time.
Yeah,
yeah, he did love animals, that's for sure. Even though, you know, on the world tour, I mean, we'd see an animal here and there. I mean, in Australia, we went to an animal park and he held a little baby kangaroo. I remember that was really fun. But mostly it was kind of rock and roll with me and David. Rock and roll and seeing the world.
In fact, I saw a comment from our viewers. There was somebody here who said that they remember seeing you and David on stage somewhere and that you were awesome.
Right. Well, you know, I not only photographed the concert, but there was one number, one song. Oh, what is the name of it now? I don't know if I'll be able to access that file, but I put harmonica. I put my camera down and picked up the harmonica and played a solo in it. That was fun. Yeah.
Now, Sam, obviously you touched on a little bit about your early friendship with David. Could you share any stories with us and memories you have about David, particularly with animals? You were mentioning about the dogs. Why in particular Ricky, for example? Because, I mean, obviously my name's Ricky, and he has a song on his first album, I believe, about Ricky, doesn't he?
Yeah, Ricky's song is a very touching song, actually. Yeah. And I believe he wrote that after we lost Ricky. Ricky was a scrappy little terrier that loved to fight every other dog on the block. And eventually he just got beat up so bad that he couldn't survive. And that's when he wrote Ricky's song. And It, you know, a funny story that comes to mind is we were two young bachelors, 19 years old when we moved out and got the house. And, you know, here we have this male dog and a female dog. There's Sheesh right there, who's, we had to change her name also because her original name was Hashish. And we couldn't let the teen magazines know. We knew that wouldn't fly. So when they said, "What's your dog's name?" we kind of looked at each other and went, Sheesh. And they said, "How do you spell it?" And so we spelled it with 2 E's so that no one would put the two things together. But anyway, but Ricky and Sheesh decided that they do what young dogs do. They mated. And when they were mating, they were running around the house and screaming and making all this noise. And we had to call the vet. And we explained to them what was going on because they were facing in opposite directions and running up and down the stairs and just, and I can remember the vet saying to us, he went, well, do you want those two dogs to mate, to have puppies? And we went, yeah. And he went, well, son, that's what they're doing. And you know, we thought we were two young studs living in Laurel Canyon, you know, that knew it all. And having the elderly veterinarian explain to us the birds and the bees of animals was quite embarrassing. And then we had the puppies, and that was a mess. And actually, Tiger Beat was very helpful. They ran a contest with its puppies, and they got thousands of entries. By the time we got those puppies shipped off, actually, it was Ann Moses. Her mother took care of the puppies for us for months. Ann Moses was one of the editors at Tiger Beat magazine.
Yes.
And gosh, they shipped out. They were about 6 months old by the time they shipped out. And what was neat is half the puppies looked like Ricky and half of them looked like Sheesh. So it was, I have no idea. I got to meet one of them at a Chicago concert, one of the puppies. But that was, I'll never forget that veterinarian explaining the birds and bees to us. And
that's a great story. Now, the origin of Sheesh is really, really funny. What was the origin of Ricky? Just a random name that he liked? I'm obviously interested in my name.
Maybe, listen, I don't think the dog's name was originally Sam. I don't believe it was named after me. Maybe he named Ricky after you. I have no idea.
Oh,
I mean, it was just like, okay, you know, he became Ricky. He wasn't a well-trained dog, so it didn't matter what he called him. He wasn't going to come if he didn't want to, you know. So.
Yeah. Well, weren't both you and Henry, among other things that you guys did together, were you both on the Australian tour in 1974 with David?
Yes. We were on the tour that started in New Zealand, and we called that the Australasian tour.
Yeah.
And oh, wow, there's another.
Yeah, check that out.
Yeah.
Well, that was, I think that was when we went to Maui.
Huh.
Yeah, it does say that at the bottom it was Hawaii, but on Australia, you, I believe that you, Sam, said that, did Elton John join David on stage at one of the shows there? Is that true?
Well, yeah, actually, we started our tour in New Zealand, and Elton was ending his tour in New Zealand. He started up in Asia and worked his way down. We were starting in New Zealand and working our way up. And we'd actually run into each other at a restaurant and got drunk together, all of us. And I can't remember if it was the first show or not, but it was in Auckland, New Zealand. David was performing, and he finishes, and when he would finish performing, he came off stage, stage right. I had a towel waiting for him, and he was, you know, just dripping in sweat. But for the last few songs, Elton had come backstage and was standing in the wings watching David perform. Elton, a very accomplished musician. Wow. David comes off stage, he's huffing and puffing and drying himself off. He looks up, he goes, "Hi, Elton." Elton goes, "Hi, David, you know, great show." And he said, "Well, I got to go out for an encore. Want to join me?" And Elton said, "Sure. What are you playing?" I can't remember the song. He just asked the name of the song and what key. David goes back on stage. The kids are screaming like crazy. He tells the piano player, "Get up, I've got a guest coming." And the band had no idea what was going on. And David introduces Elton John to play on his encore, and it went over spectacularly, obviously. And it was one of the highlight moments of his touring career that I remember. You know, bringing Elton on stage to do an encore.
Oh, absolutely. Were you there and saw that, Henry?
Well, you know, I think I got to New Zealand a day after that concert, but then we spent a week there kind of acclimating before we continued the tour to Australia. So one of the first nights I got there, we had a big dinner in the hotel, and Elton was there.
Yeah.
Sitting across from David. I took photos then.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we are, having dinner.
That's a great shot.
Just the concert thing with Elton. That was great. Yeah, golly. And you know, and as Sam said, we went to Hawaii a lot. We went to, somebody was asking a question about, there's a puka shell photo of David. He's lying back on the beach wearing these puka shells.
Yeah.
Back in the early 70s, you could just pick up those puka shells all over the beach, you know, and the surfers' girlfriends would make puka shells while their boyfriends were surfing. In those days, there weren't so many girl surfers, I guess. But my wife made those puka shell necklace for David.
Yeah.
And after he wore it in that picture, I think they became very, very popular, and for other reasons too. But nowadays, it's hard to find them because unscrupulous people come there with a big screen and a shovel, you know, and they just sift through the sand and take all the puka shells, which probably took 100 years to gather on the beach.
Yeah.
But we had some great times. And there was a disc jockey, Uncle Tom, who had a cabin on the North Shore of Oahu, where Honolulu is. And we would go and spend weeks at a time in that little beach house, little wooden beach house, right on the beach. You walk down the steps and you're right in the sand, you know, of the beach. And we went there to, you know, to unwind between tours and stuff.
Sure. Yeah. And I believe some of the music from that Australian tour, correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, but I know that David's album, 1974 Live, captures live performances. And I'm assuming that some of those were from that tour in Australia, yes?
Probably, I'm sure.
Yeah. And for those of you who've never heard, for those of you who didn't get to experience that, I'd encourage you to listen to, for example, if you listen to that album, 1974 Live, it's called Cassidy Live, to be specific. David's, the bedlam of the fans was Beatle-esque. Was it not?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, it was. I mean,
shouting.
When I first got to New Zealand, I remember the first morning, you know, about 8 in the morning, trying to sleep, and there was a crowd of little girls out on the street singing, you know, "We love you, David, we always do," and I'm going, oh no, you know, putting the pillow over my head. He couldn't leave the hotel in New Zealand, is what.
Wow.
He couldn't leave the hotel in the daytime. There were so many girls outside, just like the Beatles. Of course, you know, early in the evening, they'd all go home to their homes with their parents. And then we could go out, we could sneak out and go to a club and have dinner and stuff. But we were captives up in the suite all day long, you know, and we would have a good time. We'd write a lot of postcards and have friends come over and kind of party through the afternoon. And then we'd get to go out in the evening. But
yeah.
And you know, David was so popular the first time we went to England together. It wasn't to do a concert, it was to actually do some pre-promo work for a concert. And no hotel would take us because of security reasons. And we had to rent the largest yacht in England and stay in the Thames River between the London Bridge and the Tower Bridge, because at that time the river was so polluted that if you went in to swim, you had to get your stomach pumped. And so all along the river on both sides were lined with girls who sang all night, you know, "We love David," and they'd sing all night long, but they couldn't swim to us. And we had police patrol boats circling this yacht. This yacht was also leased by Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton to keep their dogs on when they'd go to England, because the dogs would have to go into quarantine if they made landfall. So we got to, once again, David's love for animals, we got to stay on the dog yacht.
Yeah.
And there's some quite interesting stories that evolved from that trip. But it was insane that the country of England said, we can't protect them.
Right. Yeah, that's amazing. And I don't think a lot of people, especially in today's generation, they don't appreciate a lot of those things about David. They not only don't know his love for animals, his love for thoroughbreds, but they don't know the superstar sensation that he was. They sadly, he's thought mostly from Partridge Family, and they forget the legacy he had of being one of the most iconic superstars of rock and roll in the 1970s.
Yeah. His concerts were so amazing. I mean, the concerts would usually be in the afternoon in a soccer field or something, and the stage would be at one end. And so all the girls would be crammed, you know, together, all standing up, of course. And when he came out on stage, they all surged forward. So the girls in the front row would get pushed against the iron railing. And they'd have to have 8 or 10 or 12 security guys there pulling girls out of the crowd that were getting smashed, you know, the ones in front. And they'd be crying and shouting and screaming, and they all had signs. And boy, it was quite an adventure. And you know, David, I mean, as Sam knows, you know, when you're pals with David, it's kind of a lot of fun. There's always a wink and a nod, and it's always kind of funny. But when he was on stage, you know, the first time he was on stage, I kind of gave a little wink and a nod, thinking, there's my old buddy David. I mean, he didn't even look at me. He gets so into that guy on the stage, you know. I mean, I was looking for, you know, like a little, hey, man, how you doing? But no, I mean, he was totally 100% into performing and being that guy. And of course, you know, with tens of thousands of girls screaming your name, my God.
Right. Yeah. Sam, I understand you have a story about being with David's mom the moment David came on stage at Madison Square Garden, New York.
Yeah, boy, I got chills when you just brought it up. You know, that was the pinnacle of his concerts. There it is backstage. There, Evelyn is on all the way to the left, and David, and then there's Wes Farrell. I can't see who's behind the flowers. Me, Ruth Aarons, who was David's manager, and Shirley Jones in that picture. But it was a sellout. We sold out all the merchandise before the intermission. And I was standing, we were about midway in the crowd. We were standing outside one of the tunnels there at Madison Square Garden. And, you know, they announced David, that's his grandpa. And the flash bulbs were going off from those days. You didn't have phones or cameras in your phone. And so everyone had little Hawkeye brownies or whatever they were. And they were just, it was like a strobe light effect and the screaming. And I remember like looking over, standing next to Evelyn, and her eyes welling up with tears and mine welling up with tears. And he starts to sing. You couldn't even hear him for that first song. And I just said, that's your baby, you know? And it's like, we were just like hugging each other. Like, it's like you couldn't, like, is this real? Pinch me. Am I really here? Is this really happening? And my gosh, that and Wembley, I think, were his two high points as far as performing.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. And do you remember him? I know there's some stories. I don't know if you remember this, Sam, of David discussing having to something about having to fight for the right to sing on the records. Is that something you recall?
Oh, absolutely. You know, he signed for the Partridge Family. They did not know he could sing, and they were going to have Shirley lay down a few tracks and do studio musicians to lay down all the tracks. And David went, "This is pop stuff. I can do this." Right. And they went, "What?" And he said, "No, I can do this." And he literally had to fight. And he got Ruth. Ruth was a terrific manager and a great fighter. And they finally convinced them, like, no, let me lay down my voice. And he obviously laid down most of the track. Shirley would come in for a few of the tracks, and then it was studio singers for the kids, you know, the rest of the Partridge Family. And then, you know, once they saw that he could sing, and I Think I Love You came out, and you know, of course, they saw dollar signs, and we saw his life change overnight, literally.
Yeah. one of the things I think I saw a comment from one of the viewers on here talking about they don't understand why David's music isn't played on radios. And I'd have to concur. I find it interesting that of the iconic, even on playlists, like I was just on a road trip and I was listening to playlists on my Apple Music that were created by Apple that show you essential songs of the 70s from some of the legendary songwriters, rock songs, love songs, singer-songwriters. There wasn't one from David. And I don't understand that. Do you guys understand that?
I think there's a prejudice involved, is that he got labeled as bubblegum music. Yeah. Teenage Idol bubblegum music. And that's something he fought. When I say fought, he wanted to change that his entire life, right up until the very end, literally the very end when he did that last session. And, you know, 2012 is the last time I saw David perform live. He was down here in the San Diego area performing at one of the casinos. And it was a wonderful show, and it was extemporaneous. I mean, somebody would mention something and he'd go off and start singing a lyric. The band had never rehearsed it, and they would break into a song. He truly became like a jazz musician where everything was extemporaneous. He became, and I looked at him, I said, you're a real musician. And he did it. I mean, it took him 50 years of hard work, and it's such a darn shame that the public still thinks of it, well, this is just bubblegum. No, it's not. You know, it was, first of all, it was some of it great pop music for that genre, and then to watch him evolve, and because, you know, people have a prejudice and they would never let it go. Now, his fans understood it and understood the uniqueness of his voice and the quality of his voice. When you hear David, you know it's David. Yes. If I occasionally hear a song and go, oh my God, that's David. Yes. You know, it's like the first time we heard I Think I Love You, and we were driving up the Coast Highway, probably getting high, and it came on the radio. It was like, we just looked at each other and went, oh my God, you're on the radio. You know, nowadays you'd go, hey, bro, you're on the radio. But
and he had a voice, just an incredible voice. We're going to talk more about that, and I actually want to invite Gary to come back and join the three of us. So it'll be the four of us discussing as we wrap things up. But before we bring him back, we're going to do just a little commercial for bidding right now. It's going to last about 2 minutes. It's going to be like a little 2-minute break, and then we're all back.
Am I allowed to bid on some of these photographs?
I believe you are allowed to, Sam. Yes.
I would love to have a Henry Diltz original in my house.
Yeah, I think you can. It's open to everybody.
I'm giving you a call.
So we'll do 2 minutes for this commercial, and then we'll come back.
Okay.
DC exclusive packages 1 through 5. Here are 5 photos of David Cassidy, 4 with horses, and a special one with his dog Bullseye. Henry Diltz captured the love and compassion David had for these animals. While enjoying tonight's show, open another browser and click on over to our website, ithinkiloveyou.org. Follow the auction link and make a bid on one or all 5 original David Cassidy 11x14 prints Henry Diltz has signed and made exclusive to the foundation. The winners will also receive a gift from us, this limited edition event t-shirt. And wait, there's more! Winners of each photo will also receive, available for the first time anywhere, exclusive to this event, this 8x10 picture of Sam Hyman and David Cassidy. Sam and famed rock photographer Henry Diltz will sign this exclusive picture. DC exclusive package number 6. Bid on this 1993 Fender Jazz bass guitar signed by David Cassidy and donated to the foundation by David's longtime friend and horse trainer Gary Contessa. Then and Now donation package. Make a $50 donation to the foundation and receive these 2 exclusive 8x10 prints. Picture number 1, Ricky Siegel's then picture from his 1973 debut on the Partridge Family TV series with David Cassidy, signed by Ricky. Picture number 2, Gary Contessa and David Cassidy, signed by Gary from the Now years. Then and Now extended donation package. For a $125 donation, in addition to the Then and Now package, which includes the picture of Ricky and David and the picture of Gary and David, You will also receive the exclusive limited edition I Think I Love You Animal Foundation Then and Now event t-shirt featuring this classic David Cassidy Henry Diltz photo that includes David and Henry's printed signature. Only 75 shirts will be available for this limited edition run, and they will only be available this week while bidding is open. So get yours now. All proceeds to benefit the I Think I Love You Animal Foundation. Bidding closes July 16th, 2021 at 10 p.m. Eastern. Winners will be announced July 17th, 2021 at 7 p.m. Eastern, live on Facebook. Visit our website, ithinkiloveyou.org, for details.
I think one of my favorite things about that commercial is the fact that we actually had a, but wait, there's more.
Yes.
Yes. Well,
I wanted to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
We were talking about David's songs not being played. Maybe partially the fans could affect that by calling radio stations, although sometimes that stuff is all pre-packaged, but some radio stations just call in and demand it. Say, hey, we're waiting, we're listening, we want to hear some David Cassidy stuff.
And play his stuff. His albums are on, if you're on Apple or Spotify, you can pull up, just search David Cassidy, and all of his albums are there. And if you play it, that's giving popularity to his stuff, and the algorithms pick that up. Yeah. Well, hey, Gary, welcome back. Thank you for joining us, gentlemen. I don't believe that you have met Gary. Is that correct?
Absolutely not.
I haven't met him except earlier today. I saw him on the tube here, but we can't see him.
I'm blown away by you guys. I'm there above you, and I'm blown away by you guys.
He's in the dark.
Listening to your experiences.
Yeah, he did that great talk about the horses and David. Yeah, that's the first time I ever saw Gary.
Yeah. So, Sam, do you see and hear Gary?
Yes, I see and hear Gary and Henry and you.
Yeah.
Well, that's messed up. It's black on mine. Maybe I got to click on it or something.
No, it should have just popped up, but that's all right. This is our first little technical.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Can we hear?
Hey, Henry.
Are you there, Gary?
Yeah, man.
Huh?
Henry, you've had an amazing life. I'm in awe. I stand in awe of your life because you've done what I wish I could have done. Been, around all those great rock musicians and great rock bands, and your legacy will live on for years and years and years.
I can't hear anything.
Yeah, that's okay. We might. I don't know if we need to let Henry go out and pull him back in. I don't know if Michael can do that. I think we're going to try that, and maybe it'll reactivate things. How's it now, Henry?
No, still nothing up there. I mean, that's okay. No, just the three of us.
We see you.
Ricky, Sam, and
Henry. We hear you.
Yeah, that's strange, Henry, because we see and hear you. I guess there's something going strange.
I can see me. I just can't see. Do you see Gary and hear Gary?
Yeah, we did.
He say something. No, I can't.
Henry,
well, that's okay.
Yeah, Gary can
talk. I'll listen.
That's all right. That's okay. I'll give in translation. He was just basically saying how great it was to meet you, Henry, and that what an icon you are, and how much he respects the work that you've done over the years. He was just giving you high praise.
Oh well, that's nice. Very nice to meet Gary. You'll have to pass it on to him.
Absolutely. He can hear you. So it's interesting that after all these years, now even you, Sam, and Gary, your paths had not crossed until right now.
No, that's correct. I mean, I knew of Gary because David, would tell me he was heading up to Saratoga, and he was hanging out with his friend, and got to be around the horses, and and I have to tell you the stories that you were saying, Gary, it was wonderful. A lot of it was first time me hearing about it. And I mean, I obviously know about David's love for horses. I mean, he spent all his free time studying the pedigree of horses, taught me a lot about horses. When I would go to the track, we did a day at the races with the company I used to work with. I would call him at 7 o'clock in the morning, say, listen to those hoofs at Del Mar. That horse is working out. And every time I go to a racetrack, I think of David. He taught me how to read about the lineage of the horses and what it meant. I mean, it was like my dad teaching me something, and I know that you were a big part of that, Gary. And it's really it's a pleasure to meet you, to meet another side of him. And I know how much he meant to you and how much you meant to him. So thank you.
And he was such a great friend in the horse business. It's amazing. You know, he and I would go to restaurants, we'd go to Saratoga, we'd go to the races, and he just had such a good heart for the people that were there. It was an amazing experience being with David all the time. And, you know, we've all tried to share our experiences about David, but David's heart for people that were suffering, for animals that were suffering, second to none. He just, that really struck a chord with David.
You know, it's funny that you, not funny, that you mentioned that it wasn't just animals, it was people too. And what made David go into retirement was at one of his concerts, a young girl had a heart attack and died because of the crowds that Henry was relaying about. That affected him so much he couldn't tour for a long time. That's David, when he quit. He retired at like 25 years old or whatever it was.
And when he was 25 years old. Now fast forward to when he's 60 years old, and he and I finally broke that wall, and he was talking to me about that day when that girl was killed in front of the stage. And he talks about how he reached out to her and tried to pull her up on stage, and he cried. He cried real tears to me, and I cried, and it was like, David remembered it like it was yesterday. Yeah. And he shared it with somebody who wasn't there, and it was just such an unbelievable moment, and he was so sad. He didn't want to be a musician anymore after that.
You know, the thing that I hope that this portrays about David is what a beautiful and kind soul he was.
He was
lots of talent and a great looking guy and the great voice and all of the fame and fortune that came with that. It was this beautiful soul, this light that came from him. And I know it's shining or beaming from somewhere. I think of him almost every day.
I do too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and I think it's a testament to all of your love and care for David, that you are here, that you're supporting of this foundation. It's not just about the fact that there's the love everybody has for animals and especially for horses like David did, but we're all here because of our connection to, respect for, and love for David.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd like to know, because I know I've seen a lot of people giving so many beautiful comments, and I wish I could have gotten to more comments than we have thus far. But I would like to know, and I know they would like to know, what each of you is currently up to. So, for example, Henry, I understand you have a gallery. Is that correct?
Yeah. 20 years ago, I started a little gallery with just my photos and a couple of friends who were partners. We started in New York and Soho. And then we added another friend and another. Today we have 3 galleries in New York, LA, and Maui. And we have 150 photographers that we represent. So it's all music pictures. And yeah, we have some great times, some great openings. Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And I understand, you know, Sam, I probably need to come down to Oceanside as well. Tell everybody about your restaurant.
Oh my gosh. My wife and I own a restaurant called Rim Tale, which in Thai it's a Thai restaurant, and it means by the sea, in beautiful downtown Oceanside, a quaint little community here on the coast, right below Camp Pembleton, with a view of the ocean. We're a very chilled out community. I mean, if you like the ocean and you like excellent food, my wife is a wonderful chef. And we took this little restaurant, which David helped us break it. He came and did a meet and greet years ago, and it's a tiny little restaurant, and that little restaurant puts out a lot of good food with a lot of great community support during COVID, etc. I mean, I couldn't be happier.
Good. Yeah, I was going to ask you that. I'm really happy to hear that you're doing okay after COVID, because a lot of restaurants got hit hard. I'm happy to hear you guys are doing okay.
Yeah, we more than survived.
Yeah. Spell the name of that restaurant. I want to come down and see you there.
Oh,
Rim?
I would love for you to come down and see me and get to reacquaint you with Wayne Johnson again. It's called Rim,
right.
R-I-M, the second word T as in Tom, A-L-A-Y. Rim Talay, Thai cuisine in Oceanside, California.
Awesome.
And like I said, the first meal's on me, Henry.
And Gary, I understand. I mean, tell me other things you're doing, but I understand that you're training again?
Yeah, I took a year hiatus during the COVID epidemic, and I have a private job in Delaware, and I'm very happy training. I get to train horses 24 hours a day. David would be thrilled with this opportunity, and I can't tell you how many times I look at the sky and I say, David, did I do the right thing? You know, David, he doesn't talk to me. I'm not going to say I speak to David Cassidy, but he inspires me so many different ways when it comes to horses, you know, and I say, David, talk to me. You know, it's kind of like Tom Cruise in Top Gun. Talk to me, Goose.
Talk to me, Goose.
David. And I'm the same way. You know, horse trainers are a superstitious lot. And I will say, David, talk to me. And what am I missing on this horse? What am I missing in her pedigree? What am I missing in his pedigree? And it comes to me. So David is a presence in my life every single day.
That's really beautiful. Well said. Well said. Well, I can't thank you enough for spending time. You guys have not just brought attention to the worthiness of the foundation, but you've brought a richness and a wealth of information for folks who love David. I'm seeing consistently these comments from people watching saying, what a joy to be able to hear these stories. What a wonderful time to be able to spend with you. And I just, from the bottom of my heart, am very, very grateful that you all got to be a part of this. And anything else you want to say in parting? We're going to wrap things up here. Just final words that any of you would like to say. I'll start with you, Gary. You were just saying eloquent things, but just a final word before we say goodbye.
I just want everybody to know, you know, everybody that's on this cast, everybody that's on this tonight is so in love with David, and he's so deserving of our love. I mean, we return that love every single day, and I miss him, you know, incredibly. Yeah.
And Henry, how about you? Any parting words for everybody? Anything about David or just whatever's on the top of your heart?
You know, just what we said already. He was such a wonderful, fun-loving guy, you know, just all-American guy. And I mean, just like Sam, I really think about him every day. I mean, I think friends are so amazing. We are made up of the people we know, you know.
Well said.
We're a little bit of all the people we know. And David was a big part of, you know, a big part of me. I mean, I think we rubbed off on each other. He's that kind of guy. And so he's, you know, kind of with me every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I miss him.
Yeah. And I'm sure the same is true for you, Sam. Any parting words for us?
Well, I'd just like to add that I don't do, this is actually my very first podcast, but I don't do many of these things because I've pretty much said everything I'm going to say publicly about David. David would not have done this for his ego. David would be approving of this because it's for the animals. It's not because it's for his memory. It's for the animals. And that's why I'm here, because I know in my heart that he would be approving of this and would be smiling to see the four of us together because of him.
Yeah.
You know,
I think he's smiling. I think he is smiling right now, you know?
Yeah.
He's just over on the other side. We're just in the next room.
Agreed.
Exactly.
Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for your time and the wealth of your stories. The time we spent went by really, really fast, but I want to thank you gentlemen so much for sharing your time and supporting everything about David and the foundation.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Ricky.
Yeah, my pleasure. And also want to give a big shout out. Obviously, a big shout out of thanks to board member Annette Trotta Flynn, and obviously to the president, Barb Collentine, and to every single one of you who tuned in and watched. And, you know, it was said just a moment ago by Henry that we are all made up of the people that we know. And as much as the four of us were connected to and impacted by David, the same is true for every single one of you who's watching. And I saw all of the comments on here, the love that is still profoundly deep, and admiration for David's talent, David's heart, and the animals that David loved. And I've seen consistently over and over again these beautiful comments of he was the teen idol of the century, and David's always and forever in our hearts. And I can't think of a more wonderful way to embody that than what we just did and will continue to do in the weeks ahead with this foundation, and the way that you can support it and get what Henry said, an even deeper connection point by bidding on those items that you saw, which again, those items are going to be on the website and the Facebook page for the I Think I Love You Foundation. So you have bidding all week long, and then the winners will be announced next Saturday, so 8 days from now. And for any of you who want to be connected with me in any particular way, I'm not only continuing to act, but I'm also on YouTube every single day. I have a wonderful YouTube channel with my buddy Corbin Miles that's called Our Stupid Reactions. And it's a wonderful story about how that came to be, but it originated as something we did where we were reacting to artistry here in the United States. And very quickly it became totally dedicated to the beauty of music and dance and motion pictures in India. And it's been my privilege to be a part of this, and have been asked by the last person I want to thank, which is our producer, Michael Pomerico. He's been behind the scenes this whole time. Michael is the one who put all of this production together, all of the video clippings, connecting with everybody, organizing everything, hosting this, and directing it as we've been live. He's been the man behind the scenes. So a very deep, gratitudinal thank you to Michael for all of his contribution to make this happen, because it absolutely wouldn't have happened without Michael, who also, if you don't know about Michael, a deep, deep love for David and this foundation. I'm going to say goodbye. I know that Michael wanted to show you guys something. In closing, that's just with me. On our YouTube channel, we were just blessed to celebrate 1 million subscribers, 1 million stupid babies on our stupid reactions. And so Michael had seen the video. And if you're wondering what I'm up to, because you haven't seen me since Partridge Family days, well, this is me and Corbin, and my kids are in here as well, doing a celebration that is a song that was and still is a smash song from a motion picture called Bajirao Mastani. If you see this video, you really ought to go see the original and see what we tried to do to emulate and respect and honor this. That's going to happen in just a second. Credits are going to roll again. The I Think I Love You special for the I Think I Love You Foundation. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And even more, thank you so much for bidding and supporting David and supporting this cause that is so near and dear to his heart. Thanks again. We will see you next time.
बजने दे धड़क धड़क ढोल ताश धड़क धड़क भंडारा झिड़क झिड़क मल्हारी खड़क धड़क भड़क साली चटक मटक फटक साली दुश्मन की देखो जो फट लावली